Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan Garcia.
I'm Nick Nielsen. What's up?
And so we got I feel like every time we come on, right? I don't know if it's just me, but I'm like, when's that other foot going to drop for the Yankees? And on the field, it just hasn't. Like, this team has just continued to play good baseball. Looked a little dicey, right? The Yankees let the White Sox back into that game.
Yeah.
But Loizaga, and I feel like this is another situation where last year's team felt like they wouldn't have just bent. They would have bent and broken with 2 on, no one out, one run game. And instead of Loizaga struggling and really needed to have a good outing here, instead of him just crumbling, he goes out there and he gets 3 straight strikeouts on nasty stuff. He was trusting his stuff. I know King didn't have his best outing. He figured out a way to get out of it without blowing the lead entirely. Miguel Castro looked strong today. He didn't walk anyone. And Clay Holmes, man, I mean, what is there to say about the guy, right? Like, he
reliever of the year borderline right now.
Dude, the crazy thing is his competition is in his own bullpen, right?
Yeah.
Michael King is worse on a per rate basis, but he provides so much volume.
And he's also like, he's kind of slumping a bit for King. Like, these last 2 or 3 outings for King haven't been his best. And even the one before this one, I believe he pitched 2 innings of 3 strikeout baseball without giving up a run. So that's fine. Like,
yeah, like really,
but that's awesome that we have a competition within our own team for being the best bullpen arm. Like, that's how you know we have a great bullpen.
Right. And if you look at, live stats, so I have live leaderboards for right now. You look at where Clay Holmes ranks in all of baseball, right? He's thrown 21.2 innings, so 21 innings and 2/3. That is 5th in all of baseball. He has only walked 2 guys. His ERA starts with a 0. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say. A ground ball rate of above 80%. He's just special. He gets strikeouts. And one thing I really appreciate, and I know this isn't just me making a joke about it, right? Like, I make the no walks joke all the time. And I say, walks are bad. I'd rather see someone go in there and give up runs like a man than walk people.
No, you said it's a better indicator of the pitcher's quality than ERA. And you stand by that.
I do. But ultimately, right, Holmes goes in there and as a closer does something that Chapman just doesn't provide right now. And that is security that if he is going to get beat, it's going to be because the other team beat him, not because he let himself get beat. Chapman has this issue where he sets himself up for failure. He doesn't throw strikes. He makes bad pitch selections. Even if Holmes can't make a bad pitch selection.
No, because he only throws 2 pitches. He only throws 2 pitches.
Super good. How can you make a bad pitch selection going with your sinker, really? Like, you could say, oh, it's maybe you should have gone slider here, but I mean, the sinker's gonna give up a ground ball probably. So
yeah, and it's one of the best in baseball. Like Aaron Boone himself after the game was like, Clay Holmes' sinker is the best in baseball. Like, when you have that good of a pitch and you have a manager that is literally saying, yeah, like, I'm telling you not to throw anything else. Throw the slider occasionally when you throw a couple and they're seeing it really well or you don't have it, but stick to your sinker. That is your best pitch, and no one can touch it. And we're seeing that 19 games in a row without giving up a run. Like, Clay Holmes is locked in, dialed in. He should be the closer. I know that there is the argument because the closer isn't the most important bullpen role in baseball, contrary to popular belief, because of the fact that a lot of the time you do face the 7, 8, 9 in the lineup, or you're kind of designated to that specific 1-inning role in close games. So you don't get as much effectiveness out of them. However, Clay Holmes should be the closer or should be the guy they use in the most high leverage situations. That's how I'll phrase it. The most high leverage and important situations, we should see Clay Holmes or Michael King, or even like I know he hasn't gotten a ton of usage over the past 3 weeks, but Wandy Peralta looked very good in his usage.
Yeah.
As has Miguel Castro. Except Miggy's just like Aroldis, where he struggles with the walks as well. And you can tell that some of the time when he doesn't have his control, he's completely lost out there. But Clay Holmes, cardiac Clay, should 100% be the closer of this team. Like today, we saw how good he was. He got put into a tough situation, got 1 out, like on a great play that he got a rebounder back to him and tossed it over to Rizzo at first, and then pitched a flawless 8th inning or a flawless 9th inning. Like, that's what you want to see out of a high leverage guy. You don't want to see the Aroldis experiment. You don't want to see a near home run turned into a walk, turned into an RBI double. Then he gets a strikeout and we somehow lose the game. And it's like, what happened? Like, Clay Holmes, there is none of that.
Right. And another thing that's been really, and I don't want to harp on the bullpen. I don't want to make it seem like the bullpen's not good. The bullpen is good.
Very
but
good.
You just lost Chad Greene. And
Yes.
I know Chad Greene had bad outings last year, end of year, and he had a couple of rough ones this year. But overall, if you look at his season, right, like he was having a pretty decent season, right? The ERA was strong. The peripherals were strong. I believe, he had a 3 ERA, 2.82 FIP, right? He was really turning on the strikeouts. His fastball looked lively. Him going down with a right forearm strain is a devastating thing for this
huge.
bullpen. The Yankees had something with Greene where he went out there and he was a guy with 2 strikes.
Even if he gave up a home run every now and then, he very rarely walked a batter. Like Greene was not one of those guys to pitch around hitters. And that's kind of that's a double-edged sword with him. That's the problem with him, where it's like sometimes you'd attack a guy where it's like, Greene, we don't need to be throwing fastballs down the middle to this guy. He's way too good of a hitter. But then other times you're like, all right, Chad, like thank God you're not pitching around the 7 and 8 hitters in the lineup like we've seen other pitchers do.
Yeah, we're going to need to see guys like Clark Schmidt, Ron Marinaccio step up a little bit. And I do think these are guys with good stuff. And one thing the Yankees have as an advantage is they're very deep in their pitching staff. They have great talent. You look at JP Sears. He is killing it in AAA right now. The dude is untouchable. He has, I think, walked 2 batters in over 20 innings. He's got a ridiculous amount of strikeouts. His fastball... I just someone on Twitter actually gave me the link to this. So I don't know if you're familiar with vertical approach angle.
You told me about vertical approach angle. So I researched it because you told me about it.
Those who are not familiar watching, it's the angle in which the ball is crossing the plate, right? And you may go like, well, what's good or what's bad, right? You rarely see a ball crossing home plate at a very flat angle. It makes it very tough to hit because you're trying to get underneath the ball a little bit. It's hard to get underneath that flat, coming in there, especially with a fastball. And we know Nestor has been he is the poster child on the Yankees for this. I know he gave up 3 runs today in 5 innings, but
that's a bad start for Nestor.
Yeah, you want to tell me that's a bad start for Nestor? No walks, 7 strikeouts. You want to tell me that's bad? Then hey man, we have some really bad pitchers we got a ton of bad pitching in this league. Because you want to tell me a 1 ERA, a 1.8 ERA, a sub-3 Sierra, a sub-3 xFIP, sub-3 FIP. You want to tell me those are bad stats? You'd be my guess.
And Nestor hasn't given up 4 runs ever in a start.
Yeah.
Ever. That's what's since 2021, I would say, as a Yankee, he has not given up 4 runs in a start. Like people need to realize that Nestor, that's why I guess this seems like a bad start, because he's been so good for the past year, basically, where he hasn't given up more than 3 runs in forever. Nestor had a very good start today. Very good start. And he grinded through some of the problems that he had and some slight mistakes behind him on the defensive end. And then also him not having some of his best pitches. If we're being honest, the only bad pitch he really made was that home run. And that was not great. But you take that away and Nestor pitched, probably would go 6 or 7 innings again with no runs. So some accolades should be given to, or some, I'm trying to think of a word here to say, props. Nestor should get a break. Yeah, props. Yeah. Nestor should get a break for having a pretty solid but not elite outing. Because I guess we've all hyped Nestor up to be an elite pitcher, as he is, that this looks bad, but Yankees fans need to look at it with a grain of salt and be like, wow, this is still really good. This would be most teams, they'd love this as a quality start.
And Sears is a guy who, just like Nestor, if you look at his sinker, it's called a sinker. I really think it's more of a 4-seam fastball, but I'm just gonna go based on what it's labeled. If you look at its vertical approach angle, and its vertical approach attack angle, it's right on. It's literally neck and neck with Nestor's. They're very identical pitches in how they cross the plate, their vertical movement, their horizontal movement, right? I think JP Sears is a really, really, really underrated pitcher. I really do think the Yankees let him get a chance in that bullpen, he will dominate.
And now he will have that chance, I think, especially with everything that's kind of happening. Even Luis Gil getting injured, which it's devastating news to hear. I hope Luis Gil gets better. I mean, the dude's so electric and he has such a bright future, so it sucks that he's having Tommy John. But Luis Gil is usually the go-to guy that the Yankees look down to bring up for a spot start or to fill in a long relief role or to bring up, especially once expanded rosters hit. So JP Sears is definitely going to have a role in this team now, especially with that and Greene's injury and Chapman's struggles. There's so many things going on right now behind the scenes for the bullpen where it's it looks good and it has been very good, but there are some worries, and there are a couple of things that you look at and you're like, this needs to change if we want to keep this elite bullpen level as a whole maintainable.
And I think we can agree here, like, dude, come the off season, right? Please do not give some guy 10, 12, 13, 14. Like, JP Sears at the AAA level, this is ridiculous. 33.7% strikeout rate, 4.6% walk rate, 2.28 ERA, 2.29 FIP, bunch of ground balls. Like, dude, I do not, for the life of me, need to see money thrown at these people. Just call this guy up. Yeah. You know, I'm not even saying, like, you know, oh, he's a lock to be great. But good God, it'd be really hard for me to imagine he doesn't pitch well at the major league level. And this isn't me crapping on management, right? The Yankees are so deep bullpen-wise. Even now, like, their bullpen is still full right now, technically. Because even with Greene down, they still have Schmidt and Marinaccio, right? Am I going to sit here and complain that Marinaccio's up instead of Sears because Sears is has a 0 ERA in 2 innings and Marinaccio had 2 bad outings in garbage time? No, I'm not going to complain about that because they have good stuff. Like Marinaccio, you look at the fastball velocity was a little bit down at the major league level.
But his slider was filthy.
Yeah, and I think we can both agree here. Marinaccio didn't look comfortable. He looked a little nervous.
He was also used like 12 days in between each appearance, and when the Yankees were up like 7 runs.
Yeah.
So it's basically like we're just throwing you out there, then sending you down in a day or two. I hope you know that.
I think there's also like that level of nerves of like, I gotta stick on this roster. How am I gonna impress?
Yeah.
And it's like
pressing.
It's tough. And he's got a good changeup, good slider, good fastball. He's got the run on the rise in that pitch. It's disgusting.
And he's the Marinaccio. He's got the Italian side of him. You know, we love our Italians in New York.
You got Rizzo, Marinaccio, Gallo. You got guys.
You got the Italians. You got the guys. But I will say I wouldn't be upset if the Yankees were to pursue a reliever via trade.
Oh,
especially if it's like David Bednar or David Robertson, getting him back. If you can get Ian Happ and David Robertson, that would be a masterclass from Chapman. Or Ian Happ and Rowan Wick. Anyone on that team.
If the Yankees somehow get David Bednar, like, I don't know if the Pirates are going to trade, but oh my God, David Bednar's like so good. Like, I forgot he was a Pirate, but dude, I can't even. Oh my God,
I don't know how much he costs because I don't know what the Pirates would want because they're the Pirates and the Yankees usually get a lot from the Pirates for nothing. We've seen it in the past. So I don't know if the Yankees or the Pirates would be adverse to talking trades. So it is something that you have to think about. But I'm 100% with you that promote from within. Like, there are so many electric arms in this bullpen and in the minor league system now that you can get by without having Chad Greene, without having to expend and give up an elite prospect for a good bullpen arm. Because we all know that come deadline day, every contending team is going to be chopping at the bit for one of the shitty team's bullpen arms. And they're going to jack the price up a ton. Like, if Lou Trevino pitches well in the next month and a half of baseball, you'll see him getting shopped for like a top 5, top 7 prospect in an organization.
I think also one thing that people really don't understand about bullpen arms, and, you know, this is something that and Yankee fans are going to really understand Chad Greene's value now.
Yes.
Dude, you just can't find a guy who's going to throw 70 innings in a season. It's not happening.
And we had Chad Greene throw like 120 back-to-back years. Like, he's really good.
Dude, Chad Greene spent 6 years with the 7. I think it was 6 or 7 because he came up in 2016. He had the 5th most games appeared for a Yankee, including the postseason. Right?
We Betances him.
Yeah, like, think about it. Betances didn't throw that many games. Chapman hasn't even thrown that many games. How many? You know, like Sabathia didn't have that many games. Like, think of just appearances, bullpen guys over the last decade, 2 decades.
He started a ton. He was our closer for a bit. He did everything the Yankees asked and then some. Like, Chad Greene deserves tons of praise, and people should stop being like, Chad Greene wasn't that good anyways. Like, dude, Chad Greene was very good. It's just we're so accustomed to seeing so many elite relievers and the old Chad Greene that he has taken a step down. And it's okay to admit that. It's okay to look at that and be like, he's still a good reliever. Like, he doesn't need to be this sub-2 ERA over 100 innings reliever anymore. He's not the workhorse that we need him to be. We have better arms now that we can afford to be like, Chad, we're going to use you less and less this season. And it's unfortunate he got injured. When
I saw people saying that him getting hurt was maybe a good thing for the Yankees, I nearly just, like, when Monty struggled. By the way, Monty having a terrible start, 3 runs in 5 innings, so bad, so terrible, so inexcusable for him to have a sub 3.5 ERA. Just terrible, by the way, so bad. But like that, and then the Chad Green, that made me almost lose my mind.
Mhm.
I almost lost my like, dude. Oh, it's probably a good thing we lost the guy who's gonna lead the league in innings pitched. Probably, probably finish with a 3 ERA. Probably a positive win.
It's
Probably
so
be
dumb.
added.
It's very ignorant to say.
Thank God he's gone. Like, dude, you don't know the next thing about bullpenning, man. The Yankees don't have, like, no team in baseball had as many guys in the Yankees that they could just go out there and throw 2 days,
Yep.
2 out of every 3 days. Chad Green provides value, an insane amount of value. Not having him is going to suck. Replacing him is so much more difficult than people think.
Yes, exactly.
Go and look down a reliever list reliever list leaderboard, right? And tell me how many of those guys are going to finish season keeping good per rate stats and pitching upwards of 50, 60 innings. How many guys on that list are going to do it? The answer is not many of them. And if they do, they're either A, not available, or if they are, they're going to cost you an arm and leg, and the Yankees are not going to give that up because it doesn't make sense to. So Yankees fans, go and point to me and find that 80-inning pitch reliever. Go to me and find the guy throwing 80 innings with a sub 3.1 ERA. Go find me the guy doing that. When you do, tell me what their trade price is, and then I'll stop saying, oh, Chad Green is just not a guy you can replace like that. If you can give me a laundry list of guys who can do it, go ahead, start commenting them, tweet them at me, do whatever you want, because it's dumb. It's stupid. It's so dumb. Like, I don't get it. If the guy's not, Mariano Rivera, he wasn't that good. Are you serious?
Exactly. Everyone has this idea that you have to be elite to be good. You're right.
Spoiled. You're spoiled.
Go off, Ryan. You're right, dude. Say it loud for the people in the back, dude. And that's how we are as Yankees fans. The Yankee fan base as a whole is probably the largest fan base across the major sports in America. I will say not in the world, despite the fact that they're an iconic world brand. That's their logo, not the team. But the Yankees fans are definitely toxic in a way, like most fans, but to a point where it's like they're so spoiled that they don't understand something good until it's gone. Like the Yankees for the past couple years were not a very great baseball team. And now this year, they're one of the best, if not the best in baseball. So now everyone that's not performing up to that upper echelon expectation of S-tier performances night in, night out, they're going to be ridiculed. And it's pathetic and it's stupid. It should die. Like I will say, there are players that deserve to be chirped and deserve to be handed shit coming their way. Like Aaron Hicks has been awful, except for yesterday. Sorry. He was very good. Like he looked like Barry Bonds in the first couple of appearances against Dallas Keuchel. It was great. But as a whole, Aaron Hicks deserves the shit because Aaron Hicks does not deserve to be taking at bats from Joey Gallo, from Gleyber Torres and them. But in this series opener against the White Sox, he performed very well. He said, okay, screw it, I'm going to do it. But the thing is that if Aaron Hicks got injured, the Yankees would play Marwin Gonzalez every other day in the outfield. And then our depth would look even more and more frail and thin. And then we'd once again be like, oh, Aaron Hicks is gone. That's a good thing. Thank God Aaron Hicks is gone. We're better without him. But the importance of having a guy that's, even if he's not playing well, an everyday player cannot be understated. And for Chad Green, he's playing well. He's just not playing to the tier of like expectations, which are unlofty expectations anyways. So it's like for Chad Green to go down and Yankees fans kind of cheer a little bit is just appalling. It's like, doesn't make sense to me. Like, I don't know, dude. Chad Green's been such a big staple of this team for so long that I feel like even if he does have Tommy John, it's going to be a very, very hard goodbye to Chad Green.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you hit on this point where it's spoiled. Dude, after that Baltimore loss, by the way, 6-2 road trip, best record in baseball, the day after the Rays lost and the Yankees were 6 games up on them in the loss column. And are now 6 games up on them in the loss column.
Once again.
Yeah, like people calling it the Michael K show. Oh, this guy should get cut. This guy should get, like, dude, breathe in, breathe out. You are not, I guarantee this. I hope I'm wrong. I'm guaranteeing this. The Yankees will not play a better stretch over 29 games than they have played right now. They will not go 25-4 in another 29-game stretch this year.
It's an insane pace. It's not maintainable.
This is the best baseball I have watched in my entire life.
It's insane.
Like, as a person who can understand baseball and understand really what I'm watching, this is the best
Once you
baseball
found
I've
Steamer,
ever watched.
Finding Steamer.
Dude, this is the best baseball I've ever watched.
Yeah, that's the thing. They're so good across the board, and every part of this team is clicking in a way that we haven't seen before. So it's like to get mad about losses is one thing, you know, especially in games that you look like you could have won. That Orioles loss, we definitely could have won.
Yeah, it
but the
sucked.
Orioles implode, the bullpen implodes. It happens. We have an elite bullpen. We're going to have a bad game every now and then. But for the Yankees fans to immediately overreact and be like, this is like a disgrace is crazy to me because of how many games are played in a season. Like, we got to realize we've played 39 games and we're 29-10, I believe, right?
Yeah.
We've played 39 games out of 162. So we're not even a quarter of the way through the season yet. And we have people saying that this is crazy and we shouldn't be losing games at all. We have 10 losses mid-May, end of May. Like, this is very, very good baseball. This is a very, very good team. And there are a few flaws with this team. And there are some things that were like are positives, but now kind of becoming negatives with everything. We can kind of, we'll dive into that a little bit about what happened between Donaldson and Tim Anderson today or yesterday in the game. But as a whole, even like take that one instance aside, we'll talk about it in a little bit here. The edge and the passion and the energy that this team is playing for and the mentality that they're playing with has not been seen in years past. And I know Josh Donaldson may have crossed the line with his comments where he said, "Hey, what up, Jackie?" to Tim Anderson, referring to an article where Tim Anderson was featured in a Sports Illustrated interview saying he's like the modern day Jackie Robinson in the way he brings the energy to the game and he wants to play the game fun and he doesn't give a shit about the rules and the unwritten rules of baseball. That was kind of the whole gist of it. Wasn't that he was saying he's Jackie Robinson, but was that he was comparing himself in the way he plays to Jackie. So JD saying, "What up, Jackie?" may in that sense seem like, oh, like this isn't a huge problem. Like it's just a joke. It's a bit of ribbing. However, a lot of people brought this up and you brought it up, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this as well in a moment. When one person doesn't view it as a joke and they take offense to it, is it really a joke? So I would love to hear more about what comes out from Tim Anderson's side on the thing and Josh Donaldson apologizing for it being taken as offensive and saying he'd like to sit down and talk with Tim if he'd have him. I think that's a great move. Even if it wasn't meant to be racist or intended to be racist, when you don't have the context, as 95% of the fans that watch baseball don't, it comes off as such. So very poor choice of words by Donaldson there. However, his passion that he's brought prior to that has been very noted across this season. Everyone's now playing with a chip on their shoulder. It seems like Judge is now pissed whenever he steps foot in the box. And we hadn't seen that in the past. So I guess kind of circling back, this team's energy and passion is what we wanted to see, minus the incident that happened with Tim Anderson. And whether or not everything comes out more that shows the further negative side of Josh Donaldson or shows it more as it was just a joke and the two understood that, I don't know. We're going to have to see. But the Yankees aren't taking shit from anyone this year. And we haven't seen that in the past. They don't roll over anymore. But Ryan, what are your thoughts on the whole Donaldson and Anderson exchange? I'd love to hear what you have to say.
So I think you worded that very well, where it's like, you know, when a joke no longer becomes a joke, right? There's a line, you have to know where that line is. Donaldson, that has to be a learning experience for Donaldson, yes. Right? You can't unsay it. You can't undo it.
Yes.
And the only thing you can do is learn from it. And hope, like, that's got to be number one. You learn from it. You learn why Anderson took it the way he did. That's Donaldson's number one thing. He's got to know why Anderson took it the way he did. Right? He's got to understand that, process that. You know, channel that energy of, you know, being a jackass on the field into a way that isn't going to overstep it, make it something that is off the field. Right? Like, one thing I really do enjoy about watching the Yankees right now is, as you mentioned, right? And I think this is something Hicks said on the R2C2 podcast, having a little bit of fuck you, right? Dude, there is a lot of like F you to this team. I thought after that bench clearing brawl, once King started, bench clearing incident, once King started giving up runners, like, this is a game the Yankees are going to lose, aren't they? Because there's an incident. They let the White Sox back into this game.
Yeah.
They let them kind of get themselves into the game, get themselves riled up.
And Josh Harrison, Deion Sanders double.
And I thought
that was the shifting point.
That Sully was pretty good, man. Like,
yeah, I was laughing. I was like, why are you celebrating when you're down though? I was like, this motherfucker.
Dude, he's look. I think
he made 3 like Matt Chapman-esque plays today too. He played a hell of a game.
Yeah, Harrison's playing a hell of. Pollock had a couple doubles too. Mm-hmm. Like, I gotta say though, like they were fighting, they were killed, they were ready to win that game.
Mm-hmm.
And towards the end of that game, one big at bat, and I watched this game with my dad and uncle. And I watched that one at bat Rizzo had where he drives in a run. You watch that at bat, and you're just seeing him fight off pitches.
Incredible at bat.
Yeah. His part, he had to hit the ball in the air, and he hit the ball in the air. Like, it's like, it is a mentality. Like, this team doesn't lose battles. They don't lose battles. They go out and they're going to lose a game where, it's a team they're talking shit to or is shit talking to. They're going to lose one of those games. It happens. But last year, it felt like they didn't just win. It's not that they didn't just lose every battle. They lost the war against those guys.
Yes.
Like Boston, there was a little bit of something all year. They lost. They lost the war. They've lost in the wild card game. They lost season series and the wild card game. Tampa Bay, right? There was a lot of beef coming into them from 2020 where they got the shit beaten out of them by Tampa. And then Tampa, beginning of the year, they beat the shit out of the Yankees. Yankees started picking up the pace a little bit, and then they came back to Yankee Stadium, and the Rays almost knocked them out the playoffs. The Yankees just barely got one game. They almost got swept by the Rays with their playoffs on the line. Against Toronto, right? Toronto's another team where there's definitely not good. They definitely aren't the best of terms.
No, there's bad blood with 5 or 6 teams this year. Like they don't like anyone this year, and that's
the Astros.
I missed that.
Yeah, I mentioned this a lot with the Astros when Judge was doing this, and then Maldonado does it, and the Yankees start. The Yankees get a big lead, and 7-2. Like this is a series. This is a series on a wrap. The Yankees chirp back a little bit. They blew a 7-2 lead, and regardless of whether it was a series win or not, it let a bad taste in your mouth, right? Like that sucked. You blew a 7-2 lead. That's embarrassing. You got embarrassed, right? You talk shit, and the day after you got embarrassed. That's embarrassing, right? Where every time the Yankees were involved in something, you were left shaking your head like, what the hell, man? That's embarrassing.
Yes.
Right. And it felt like a team-wide thing. And I feel like that really is bad. Like that's, I can imagine being a player. I've been on that side of it, right? Like this year in high school baseball, we didn't like every single team. And there are definitely games where we didn't like that team and they beat us, and it just leaves a terrible feeling in your mouth. You just feel like shit. But when you win those games, and when you consistently win those games, you walk out of that series with that team. You own that team. That's a great feeling. It's a great morale boost. Feeling. And, the Yankees have that going for them. The offense, I mean, dude, what is there to say about the offense that hasn't already
I don't know if there's anything that's been there's the only problem on offense as of the last week or so, if I'm being honest, or last 2 weeks or so, performed and was one of the more clutch players on the team today in Aaron Hicks. So my gripes already with the quick start to this White Sox series from the turnaround from Baltimore is that the one guy that I said needs to do more and needs to showed up today. And granted, that one that was like a bloop single to right in front of Aaron Hicks's glove that he tried to backhand today or yesterday with and Nestor's reaction to it was hilarious. Like that was just like a classic LOL moment. Like, all right, luckily it didn't lead to anything more because it did lead to a double, and if he would have stopped it would have been a single. But luckily it wasn't a bad problem. It was just something okay, that's kind of funny. Now it's just kind of amusing. But when he came to bat, he had 2 full counts, got a single and worked a walk, and then I believe flew out on his third at bat. So it's and those are against Keuchel. So Hicks looked good.
Yeah, that walk was a big reason the Yankees got those runs.
Yeah, if he didn't walk, DJ doesn't get to come up to hit a grand slam.
Yeah, and I just want to point out, right? I know we meant when that play happened, I was like, man, we were talking. He looked lost, right? If he's I think the problem is it's spiraling for Hicks, right?
Yes.
He knows it. I think he's just as aware of his struggles as everyone else is. And that is weighing on him. He kind of knows that, he doesn't perform. He's not starting. The Yankees are not going to hesitate. They shipped off Voit. They shipped off Urshela. They shipped off Sanchez. They do not care about shipping off position players who are underperforming.
It's just hard with Hicks because he's got $41 million due.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're trading him.
No, yeah, but they have a short leash. And with Hicks, he's already had a very lengthy leash. I feel like Hicks has had, even today when he started, you and I were both why is Hicks still getting at bats over Gallo? Is Gallo hurt?
And he had a good day.
And he had a good day. So it's I got to say, good for you, Aaron. Again, best spot for Aaron Hicks in the lineup, 9-hole. That's all that needs to be said. When Hicks plays in the 9-hole this year, he's not been bad. He's only had 4 games there, but he's not been bad.
I think the right take about Aaron Hicks to have is he has underperformed this year. He has to
Yep.
pick it up, but root for him to succeed, right?
Yeah, you
It's
don't want
not
to
a
root
good,
for anyone on the team to be bad because that means the team struggles and loses out on that player being bad.
Yeah, like I
why
think
would you
people,
want someone to struggle on the Yankees if you're a
yeah,
Yankees fan?
I think some people take pleasure in their struggles. I think that's lame, right?
Oh, absolutely.
That's lame. Don't take like dude. I'm not gonna be like the moral arbiter of Yankee fans, but root for your teams to do well. Yeah, I know I've
we all
ranted a
like
lot
we all
today,
like
but
to harp on the guys that do
yeah,
poorly. And again, we're Yankees fans, so we have high expectations. So when you do poorly, you're gonna get your shit called out for doing poorly. Aaron Hicks this month had a 24 WRC plus before today. So you're gonna get called out when you're seeing games over Gallo, over Glaber, over DJ, over Donaldson,
and
and
not
you're
playing well,
performing like that. But when
right?
you do stuff that's good, like you did yesterday, that literally led to a grand slam that led to the Yankees being able to more or less control the rest of the game, you deserve to get credit. So good job, Aaron Hicks. Keep up the good work and keep playing well. Because if you play well, that's just one less thing the Yankees have to worry about pursuing in the offseason, pursuing at the deadline, promoting from within. The Yankees already have a couple of problems. And with Greene's injury now, they do have to worry about a few things in the bullpen, like who do we send up? Who do we call it? Who do we bring down? Are we going to have to sacrifice a bench player so we can have another bullpen arm because of what happened to Chad? How do we replace the innings that he was going to pitch this season? Like they do have some other problems. And if Hicks can play well in center, that will make it so they can take a deep breath and be like, all right, we can live with Aaron Hicks. Now let's focus on the other positions.
It's really it's really cool to not have a metric shit ton of problems coming into a deadline right now. Cause man, it wasn't very
Boston,
fun
on the
last
other
year.
hand. Oh.
I mean, Boston's picked it up. The story has looked phenomenal.
I was about to say Boston, thanks to Story. And then you look, it's so crazy. You look at Xander, Devers, and JD. And then you look at the rest of their offense, and it's basically like how the Yankees operated last year with Stanton and Judge, where it's like those three guys are so heavily carrying that offense that once one of them starts slumping, the Red Sox struggles may continue. And that's why I'm still not a believer. And Eovaldi gave up 5 home runs in a start. So it's like, okay, that's your guys' ace who you're going to roll out into potentially a do or die game in the wild card. I feel fine.
I think that warrants a Eovaldi. What happened? I thought you were better than Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah, that's the thing. Would he be our 4, maybe our 5?
5, bro. Not even, bro.
I don't know if he'd be in the rotation.
I'm taking
like Tyon's been pretty good this year. I think he's been our worst pitcher. Maybe Severino's been our worst pitcher in like some stats, but really good in others. And they're still really good.
Yeah. And Tyon and Sev are actually going tomorrow. Cole Calhoun, by the way, 3-1 count. I just need him to please work a walk, man. Please.
You love
man,
that. Cole Calhoun coming to the Yankees wouldn't be bad. And if Aaron Hicks struggles, and if today was just an anomaly of a game, or if yesterday, whenever this comes out, was just an anomaly of the game, then yeah, get Cole Calhoun because he won't probably cost anything because the Rangers are not competitive. Like they're waiting for a couple more guys to come. And Cole Calhoun does not fit into their long-term plans. He's essentially right fielder Andrew Benintendi with his contract, with his handedness. One of those guys I'd love because they wouldn't cost shit.
Yeah, he's hitting pretty well to start the year. Right now he's having like a really good day right now. It's 3 for 3 with a walk, which is cool. That's cool stuff.
And him only having 1 year of control, and the Royals struggling heavily.
Not even a year, basically a half year, right?
Yeah, so at this point it'll be a half a year. So that's the thing. If Hicks gets bumped down to a Gardner 4th outfield spot, fine by me. Great. That's a great player to have as your 4th outfielder. Because I hate to say it, but Aaron Hicks is not the Aaron Hicks we saw of old. There is no way he's going to become Aaron Hicks. That was 2018 Aaron Hicks that threw the ball 105 miles an hour and gunned down a runner at third. Like that's not happening anymore. He's had too many injuries that kind of affect that ability, and he's not as good of a baseball player as he was. That's just what happens. But if he can be an average baseball player, above average baseball player as a 4th outfielder, that's awesome. I'm fine with that. I just don't want to see him in the lineup every day over guys that are playing well recently and are hitting their stride, like Gallo, like Glaber. And I will say, we've talked about it a ton. That's our biggest problem with this team right now is we just lost Chad Greene and Aaron Hicks. We need him to keep up what he did in game 1 against Chicago. Like those are the 2 problems. And catcher, fine. They don't have offense. Great. I genuinely don't give a shit. Like we have Jose Trevino, who is like the number 2 catcher in baseball, and Trevino. And in framing, sorry. Jose Trevino is the number 2 catcher in baseball in Trevino. Okay, Nick. In framing. and he gets a lot of college strike percentage as well because he's so good at framing. So I don't care if Jose Trevino has a 75 WRC plus this season. Awesome, because of how good he is defensively. So we don't. That's the thing. This team, we're so lucky to have such a good team this year that we can sit here in this episode and talk about a few of the really big flaws with this team, and then we could also look back and be like, wow, those guys would be a lot of other teams' good players. Aaron Hicks would get every day at bats on like 12 or 13 baseball teams.
The people are talking about how Jose Trevino has a 132 WRC plus in his last 19 play appearances. And it's really sad to see because, I don't even know, dude, Trevino is just such a, he's again, I think I've compared him to Ronald Torreyes before.
Mm-hmm.
He's just fun. I love
he's
him.
A good guy to have in the clubhouse. He and Wandy remind me of each other. Wandy, I feel like Wandy's high key one of the funniest guys in the clubhouse. Wandy's just playing pranks on people.
Did you see the thing that came after he was walking out because he got checked up on his hip?
Yeah, he didn't know what to do. He just waved it off.
Yeah, the umpire didn't. He was like, "Screw you, man! You're not gonna check my hand now. Screw this."
It's Wandy just leaves, and everyone's like, "Wait, where'd Wandy go? We got to do the check after the inning." He's just sitting in the dugout, looking around.
I'm not doing no check, bro.
Wandy's like, "Screw you guys. I'm just good. You don't need to check my shit. You just need to know it's good."
Yeah, but lame.
I don't know, Ryan. I mean, all in all, I think we got really good takeaways from this series. Again, the only negative, in my opinion, from this entire series, from the past 2 or 3 series, I guess I'd say, including the game 1 against Chicago, was that JD moment with Tim Anderson, because he's my favorite player. It is hard to look at it and be in any way and defend it, which at first I did initially do. I'm not going to lie. I'm not even going to bullshit you. Seeing that initially come out, I was like, Anderson's being a bitch. There's no way JD said something racist. And then seeing it come out, and before all the context was released about it previously, it didn't look good. So that's the only negative I have from this series, is that I hope Josh Donaldson and Tim Anderson are able to talk this through and we can get some more closure on this and understanding as to what he really meant by it, and if there was true malicious intent or not, and how Tim Anderson feels about it. Because I also am victim of doing this, where I was saying Tim Anderson shouldn't take offense to this. I'm not Tim Anderson. I'm not in Tim Anderson's shoes. I'm a white guy. I don't know what it's like to have some subliminal comments like that made toward me in a game, whether it was meant to be like that or not, or taken as offensive or not. It was. And that's the only thing that matters here, is that Josh Donaldson did the right thing by apologizing and say he wants to talk to Tim Anderson. So now I want to see what happens next. I want to see both of them take a next step toward not just having beef. It's okay to have beef with players, but when one person says something that the other person doesn't find funny but finds as rude and offensive, then it should be talked about and it should be hashed out between the two.
Yeah. Let's keep the beef on field. Let's not, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't like the White Sox much either. In terms of I think there's a level of I think their fans and they're their team. They don't like us. We don't like.
And Tony La Russa sucks. Tony La Russa, and what he said, dude, the way he led it into this whole thing by saying Josh Donaldson made a racist comment. That's all I'm gonna say about it. When you lead off like that, I'm expecting him to have called him the N-word or say something.
I think the problem is,
Tony La Russa is also the last person I want to hear shit from. This dude fell asleep at the wheel while intoxicated and could have killed people.
Yeah, I don't like La Russa at all. But I'm not a big White Sox. I like the White Sox. I like White Sox players on their team. I like
Eloy, Robert,
Robert, Eloy.
Cease is the man.
Yeah, they got guys that just fun to watch. But when I play them, I want to beat them. There's a little I think there's a level of they're a good team in the American League. They're there's that level of incentive. I think if they were bad, I wouldn't really care. But I think they're a talented team. I think they're a team that when they I think they will make the playoffs. If they do, right, we'll probably see them in October, and they're not going to be the easiest matchup. I know we're kind of smacking them around the regular season, but there have been games where they have won them. But the White Sox don't lose by just rolling over. Right. They've had some blowout games that they've lost, but it feels like they stay close in games. When they have good starters going, which they will have with Lynn, Giolito, Cease consistently,
Kopech who may figure it out as the season goes on. He is struggling in a lot of underlying stats, like his fastball velocity being down 5 miles an hour is very concerning, but he's still a good guy to have as your number 4 and number 5.
Yeah, he's very on and off. He feels like a guy any given day he could go out and shove 6 innings, 10 strikeouts, right? And then another day, 4 innings, 5 walks, two
Two
strikeouts.
strikeouts. Yep.
Yeah, and you're like, what the hell happened?
Like
right?
Against us, he was throwing 92. And for Michael
Yeah,
Kopech,
that
for
was
everyone that
really
knows,
weird.
he was one of the OG high velocity guys. Like that video of him when he was still in the Boston system throwing 103 on like standing ground is
That was
it's still one of the most viral baseball clips of all time. So you know he can throw the ball hard, and he's a
Yeah.
guy that relies on that. So if
He
he
was-
is throwing 93, 94 consistently now, Michael Kopech's appeal and his value just dropped dramatically.
Yeah, like he so I expected a velo drop coming from the bullpen to the rotation.
True.
But like this year he was sitting 95.3, which is like, okay, that's fine, right?
Yeah.
I guess the Yankees was 93.6. It's like, what the hell happened?
It's just something was off.
Yeah, it was very off that entire game. It felt like it was just like a weird, like he was dialing it back to throw strikes, and that made him like less. It got him outs, right? But it made him less like explosive. Like I expect him to go and, you know, 2 strikeouts in this inning, 1 strikeout, maybe strike out the side, right? Go give me like a 30% strikeout rate. Like he just strikes me as like a ridiculous strikeout guy.
He should be. His stuff leads it to that. He's got a disgusting sweeping curveball, and his fastball has been one of the best. It's been an 80 grade fastball for as long as he can like remember being in the bigs.
Yeah, and tomorrow we're facing him and Cueto.
Dude, if Cueto shoves like he did his debut for them, I'm going to lose my mind. There's no reason why we should not be able to hit Johnny Cueto. If we can't hit Johnny Cueto, I'm going to be pissed.
Dude, like this guy's got perfect backspin on his fastball, gets a lot of rise on it, right? Like I'm looking like this is just like his fastball's really good. Again, you mentioned the slide and the curveball; those are 2+ pitches.
Like he's got the stuff to be really good.
Yeah, and even his like he can work his changeup sometimes, right? I think it's a developing pitch, but it's like, dude, like tomorrow, I know he didn't pitch well in his last start against us, but it could be like just like this, where he just looks unhittable, right? And the Yankees kind of have to be on the lookout for. Don't let him get settled. He gets settled and he feels comfortable throwing 95, 96, 97. He whips out a couple 98, 99s, starts whipping out the breaking ball consistently. Like, you're going to look foolish. You're going to just look stupid. Like Cease, they never let him settle.
No, they struck out 11 times, but they scored 6 runs. So they didn't care they struck out because they were seeing him well. They were just occasionally swinging over or under shit. And Cease got I think he had 7 strikeouts through 3, and we still had a couple runs. But it was a lot of that curveball and that changeup. And his changeup is 21 miles an hour slower than his fastball. So a lot of the time when you're not sitting on that pitch, you're going to swing over it and completely miss it. And that happened a lot. But once we settled, like you said, we didn't let him get into a groove. It was just like tea time for the Yankees.
Yeah, they got to knock him out early because if he settled, man, that would have been.
He's their best pitcher, in my opinion.
12
healthy.
Strikeouts. Yeah, 7 innings, 12 strikeouts. Maybe
even with Giolito and Lynn, I think Cease has better stuff.
Oh, for sure, dude. I think Lynn his value comes in volume, and I think he's going to be a guy where like he'll put up good ERA numbers and good fit numbers. But I think that I don't think Lance Lynn has the same. I think Lance Lynn has a better chance of like he's stable. Like if he's healthy, very confident he's going to give me what I need him to give me.
Yes.
Not so confident in Dylan Cease hitting his median outcome. But when it comes to like, okay, who are you betting to win a Cy Young? Any day of the week, Dylan Cease.
Yes, over Lance Lynn. Yeah, absolutely.
Any day of the week.
Yeah, because it's just his stuff is so disgusting. He has 4 or 5 true pitches that he can go to any time.
Dude,
like he throws changeup, slider, curveball, and fastball basically all the time, and like for his pitch mix. Like he has all the makings to be an elite number 1 pitcher. It's just a few things that he struggled, and those things were put on display against the Yankees. Like his home run and his hard contact is not his home run per 9 and his hard contact given up this year is not pretty. So it's like there are a few things that you look at Dylan Cease and you're like, hey, like you work on this and this, and you will be a number 1 pitcher for years to come.
I think like the most ridiculous thing is those changeups, man. Those parachutes.
Throw 76 mile an hour, 75 mile an hour changeups after pumping 96, 97, 98.
Like, look, Yankee fans say, "Oh, we messed him up for 7 runs." I'm so glad we didn't face him, man. Oh my god.
Yeah. Like if we faced him tomorrow, I'd be mad, especially with all this shit that went on today or yesterday. Sorry, like whenever this airs, like. Game 1, like if Dylan Cease came out like motivated, he'd probably throw 6 or 7 scoreless, 12, 13 strikeout baseball. Like he's very good. He's a very similar pitcher in my opinion to Shane McClanahan with how he pitches and his extended velocity, and the way he mixes his pitches up as well. He also has the same flaws as Shane McClanahan, where he gives up the home run ball a little bit too much, and sometimes when he attacks a hitter, he leaves one over the heart of the plate because he's such a strikeout guy.
Yeah, the fastball is just like. It gets so much rise, man. The curve, Like the curveball gets 62 inches of drop, man. It's not normal. That's not normal, man. Like you don't understand how tough that is to hit. Like I'm just like I hope Yankee fans, whenever you're not watching Yankees and day off, just go look at Dylan Cease's curveball because it's stupid. It's so dumb.
I want Dylan Cease to be a Yankee. Like that'd be awesome. Like here's my thing I've been thinking about. The Giants, the White Sox are now under 500 and they've been hovering over and under 500 for the entire season basically. If at the deadline they are say 6 games under 500, 6 to 10 games under 500, do they think about selling some pieces? Because what do you do if you're Chicago? Because Giolito wants an extension and you already said, no, we offered you this, which is way too little money. You know you have Robert and Eloy Jimenez locked up long term. So you got to think about doing things. If the White Sox are struggling, do they think about selling? And is Cease one of those guys they think about selling?
I don't think Cease gets moved just because he hasn't even hit ARB yet.
Yeah, he's got 4 years of control, 3 years of control.
But man, when he hits free agency, I mean, good God,
he's gonna be getting the bag, dude. Big boy bag.
Giolito is like. I think Lucas Giolito kind of gets – he's a free agent the same year Monty's a free agent. I think he gets kind of lost in the scuffle as like a really good pitcher. Like consistently, if you look at his
Giolito's been their best pitcher for the past 3 years. He's been really good.
Dude, like this guy is very comparable to a guy like Walker Buehler in terms of his statistics.
And he pitches a lot of innings. That's the good thing about Lucas too. He's an inning eater when he's healthy.
And, I just, some people just don't really give him the credit for being the great pitcher he is. He's got great stuff, great fastball, phenomenal changeup. Great breaking stuff, right? Like he's just a well-rounded pitcher. Absolutely. I know this is this kind of just become us just gushing about how the White Sox have just some phenomenal pitching. But we're lucky to have avoided some of those guys. Tomorrow we'll see Kopech. We'll see how he pitches. We have Severino. We have Tyone. Severino hoping that he can build off of that last start against Baltimore, where we saw him attacking guys with 97, 98. I really felt like he hasn't been. I don't know how to describe this, but Severino has the attack mode where he's just go at guys and beat them with your 97 mile per hour fastball. I feel like we haven't seen that.
No, he's been kind of passive.
Yeah, that's the word.
Because I will say I think it is some of again, it's
comfort.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like he is trying to still, I think, get back into the swing of things. He did not pitch. He pitched like 3 innings out of relief last season. And he missed that season, and he missed the season before that. So Severino really hasn't gotten a full taste of like a everyday starter workload in a long time. So I do think he's still trying to figure some things out, figure out what he likes, what he doesn't like, where he wants to go to some pitches in certain situations. And we're seeing that on the mound actively, where it is a little bit of figuring shit out as you go. But when, like you said, when he's locked and he's got that aggressive mentality and mindset, he is one of the most dangerous pitchers in baseball. So having a healthy Sevy come next month, especially, that's the thing. Like at the end of May here, if Sevy looks like he looks now, I'm going to be 100% sold that Sevy's back, because that means that he's found his groove and he's settled in, and he's probably going to have about 50, 55, 60 innings under his belt by this point, maybe 70 innings under his belt by this point next month. And that's all you can ask for out of Severino. We're not expecting him to throw 200 innings of 2 ERA baseball, but for him to do this and not to have to be like that question that a lot of people are worried about, where it's like, do we put him back in the bullpen? How do we use him? We've got a lot of guys that already are fighting for that number 5, number 4, but to have him solidify his spot is all you can ask for as a Yankees fan. So tomorrow, if he goes out there and shoves again, that's awesome, because that means that we're probably going to see Tyone shove again. And that's awesome too. Like I hate this whole thing because I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to go to sleep tonight with the whole JD Anderson thing looming on my mind, and waking up tomorrow, hopefully to hearing some
resolution,
and understanding exactly what happened between the two of them. So that way I can just put that beside me and focus on Yankees baseball. Because unfortunately, my whole, my whole count theme is like Bringer of Rain MVP.
Yeah.
So if Bringer of Rain comes off as this pretentious douchebag that just lied to cover his ass by saying this was an ongoing joke when it wasn't, I am not going to be supporting Josh Donaldson. But if this is all like, it is truly a joke, and Tim Anderson does know about it, and they have had beef for years, then I'm going to be like, all right, this just got blown way out of proportion, sparked by Tony La Russa saying that it was a racist, like, connotative comment. So it's like, that's where it's like, I hope it's that side. I hope it's the side that they're on good terms and I can just focus on Yankees baseball, and it's just beef that spiraled a bit too much. But on the flip side, if it is not that, and if it is Donaldson is in the wrong, he has to be held accountable.
Yeah, and I wanted to touch because I know this isn't necessarily related to that because I just pulled this up just now.
No, go
Because
for
you're
it, man.
mentioning like Severino's aggressiveness.
Yes.
His zone percentage is at 40.1% this year. In 2018, it was 47.4. In 2017, 49.3. So we just haven't seen him attack guys.
But he's getting there.
Yeah, it's obviously a lack of command where that's just a guy needing to get sharp. I want to see the fastball. I want to see 97, 98. I want to see him
Throw the
challenge
cutter
guys.
more too. When he throws
Yeah.
that cutter, it's a good pitch.
I think he's going to incorporate the cutter a little bit, but realistically, dude, you got 97 in your back pocket.
Yes.
I won't throw it, right? Like, go. You have go give yourself that green light late in games. You know, obviously pick your spot. You're not sitting 97. You don't want to blow out your arm, but go out there. You see a 2-2 count, a 1-2 count, right? You don't have to nibble. You don't have to try to be fine or perfect.
No, we hate it when pitchers
Yeah.
nibble. It's Sonny
Go
Gray,
97.
notorious Yankee nibbler.
Yeah, go 97. Blow the guy away, right? You got 97. If he pulls a 97-mile-per-hour fastball and just rockets it, like
that's a great piece of hitting. Like what happened with Cole to Vladdy on that one pitch,
hitting,
not the one where he hung the slider down the middle. The second home run where it was like fastball on the hands, and that was the only pitch out of like 3,000 registered pitches there that's ever been hit for a home run. Like on that one, you tip your cap. That's what he did. So if Sevy gets beat on a great pitch, fine by me. But that's the thing. I want to see Sevy go up there and be like, "This is my best shit. Show me what you got." Do what Nestor does. Go up there and just say, "I'm going to give you my best. You show me what your best is, and let's see who wins."
And his slider has gotten more sweepy this year. If you look at vertical, horizontal movement,
he just looked like a good pitcher. He's looked like Severino of old that we missed.
It's got kind of like a slurvy tendency to it, which is great to see.
We all love the Yankees love that whirly pitch now.
Yeah, the changeups look great. The changeup's a phenomenal pitch. I think it's just a matter of the command of the slider, right? Like that's got to get a little more fine. But man, you could tomorrow can be a big day for Sevy. White Sox don't have a lot of left-handed hitting. They're going to try to do their best to throw in as many left-handed hitters as possible, right? And if you do, you can rely on the changeup. But tomorrow's going to be a big test. Robert, Anderson, Abreu. I'm trying to think. I don't think Vaughn's going to play tomorrow. I'm not sure. Trying to think of more right-handed big bat. Pollock, right? These are guys who are big right-handed bats, and if you don't have your best stuff, they will beat you, right?
Tim Anderson.
Yeah, those four guys, man. Those are really good hitters. People forget. Pollock last year, 140 WRC plus. Abreu, a 120 WRC plus.
Pollock was insane last year.
Yeah. Anderson, going to be above 120 WRC plus.
And and Anderson gets all of his value from just hitting the shit out of the baseball for hard hit singles and occasional doubles. Like he hits line drives. He's the shortstop version of Andrew Benintendi.
And Robert is just a jet, like the dude.
Robert's a potential MVP player. Yeah, he's elite.
Ridiculous.
And then once they get, that's the other thing. Like maybe this White Sox team does get a lot better when Eloy comes back because he's apparently on the fast track now.
Yeah,
that'll be huge for them. And once Liam Hendricks stops sucking, then that'll be huge for them too. Like Liam Hendricks has been really bad to start this year, and that is so unsustainable that it's crazy. Like Liam Hendricks has been one of the best relief arms in baseball for the past like 4 years, and now all of a sudden he's just like not good. Like I don't buy it.
My easy solution is just don't pitch him tomorrow. Don't pitch him until he leaves New York.
Yeah,
and if you do, pray to God he's not facing Aaron Judge.
Yeah, Liam Hendricks against any of the against him and Stanton. Didn't Stanton also take him deep?
Yeah, but especially Judge, dude. If Judge is up, just IBB him. If you're
you pitch around him and make it look like it wasn't a walk, or make it look like you didn't try to. But you want no part of it. They've already done that. They did that in the last series last week against Chicago. They pitched around Judge.
Yeah,
like there's been a lot of bad blood between the White Sox and Yankees, and that's why I think that like this is becoming one of the more exciting rivalries in baseball right now, even if it isn't warranted because the Yankees have just kicked their ass. I'm pretty sure they're 19-2 since like the last few years against the White Sox.
Good old stat news.
Yeah, but like they're kind of big brother to the White Sox, just like they are to the Twins. No one in the AL Central can beat the Yankees except for the Tigers that one year.
Tigers
that 1 year with like the God Squad. Remember where it was JV, Scherzer. I believe they also had Aaron Sanchez on that team, Rick Porcello.
Or we walked into Detroit and we got swept, and that was terrible.
Yeah, but we don't talk about that. We don't talk about those. But
I don't know if this is updated from today, but they're 9-2 against the This does include today. Yeah, they're 9-2 against the White Sox since 2021, right? Like Finish a job. Don't get swept on a doubleheader. That would be horrible vibes. That'd be terrible.
At
Like,
least
that would be a
split.
vibe
At
killer.
least split.
Yeah, you split. I'm happy. You take
Because that's
2 out of
another
3.
series win. That's I
Right,
believe
take
what 9 in a row, 10 in a row. Series
10
wins.
in a row. Split. Go. I think you play Baltimore or Tampa. I forget who we play actually.
Yeah, we haven't even seen Tampa yet. I
No, we
want
haven't
to
seen
play
Tampa all
Tampa
year.
because I want to see if our best is better than their best.
Let's see. So it would be on Monday, correct? Yeah.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah, we play Baltimore. So that would be week series, or like the early week series. We play them for how many games? I believe it's 3. Yep, 3. And then Thursday starts a 3-game set against Tampa. That's big. It's at Tampa.
Is that 3-game set? Yeah, I was about to say, is that at the Trop? Because if it's a Trop, we fucking hate
House
the
of
Trop.
Horror. House of Horrors. The Yankees don't play great there.
No, we
last
are
year
bad
they
in
were
the
good
Trop.
there. Yeah, like, last year they were good there, but like
against the norm.
Yeah, but they've like in the last decade have just been awful at the Trop.
Because that fucking warehouse.
Yeah, they walk away with like 30 injuries. So
that's what I'm saying. It's like it's the warehouse. The whole vibe to the Trop is just meh. So
Yeah,
it's like hopefully they go in there and take care of business next week. And we're talking about how the Yankees just beat the shit out of Tampa Bay after hearing how they don't beat good teams.
Look, if there's anything that can derail the Yankees, it is we know it's the Trop. Like, the Trop is a evil place.
We lose 3. Stanton goes down on IL. Rizzo goes down on IL.
It does not respect our great game.
It does not respect our great game.
You know,
I need to get that tatted.
Like, there are things that just don't respect our great game. You know, walks, intentional walks, unintentional walks, bases
hit
on
by
balls,
pitches,
hit by pitches on 2 strikes,
wild pitches.
Dude, have you ever hit by pitch on 2 strikes? It's like,
that's the dumbest shit in the world. And it's always like, it's always on a pitch that's like you have no business hitting him with that pitch. And it's always a guy that doesn't deserve to get hit by a pitch. It's like, why are we hitting the 8-hole hitter, guys?
Dude, I think we hit someone today. I think we hit Josh Harrison today on a 2-strike bet. I was like, oh my God. I was listening to on the radio. I was like, my God.
Yeah, I remember that.
What are we doing? What are we doing, man? But you know, Yankees go split today, or I guess today, because this comes out Sunday. So recording this Saturday night.
At least split.
Yeah, at least go out and split. I'll be happy with it. If you sweep, I'll be even more happy with her. I'll be even more happy with it. I'll be happier than happy. You have a series against Baltimore and Toronto. That's 6 games, I believe. I think that is 6 games. I don't know if I think it might be a 4-game set against Tampa. I actually have to. That's another thing. I'd have to check that stuff. I'm very bad with the Yankees schedule.
Yeah, I think it's 6 or 7 against Baltimore and Tampa there next week.
Yeah, let me.
So you have to do well in there. Again, it's not just it's May, so you can lose games. Every game counts.
Yeah, it is a 4-game set.
Yeah, so it's 4 against Tampa.
Off. Yeah, the Yankees get the Monday off.
Oh, finally, dude. That's their first break in forever.
And then Angel will come to town. Yeah, Angel will come to town.
That'll be exciting baseball.
You got 7 games against. So this week they have gone what? They 3 out of 4 against the Orioles. 1 today. Tomorrow still withstanding. Who else did they play this week? Was it Chicago? Did they play Chicago early in the week?
This week?
Do you want to go Sunday to Sunday or Saturday to Sunday for the like weekly records?
I'd say go Sunday.
All right. So from last Sunday where they won against the Orioles, the White Sox, I believe. Yeah, they won that game to 3 out of 4 against Baltimore. Won a game, so they are doing my math right. 5-1.
Yes, 5-1.
Yeah, they can't be under 500 this week. They can't be they're guaranteed to be better than 500.
Thank God.
You walk out of this week 6-2. That's great.
7-1, perfect.
Yeah, you walk out 7-1. That's phenomenal.
And again, and after everything that kind of just happened, if you take 2 against the White Sox, that's big. That's a big statement. If you take 2 against the White Sox after shit that just happened,
then you get 7 against Baltimore and Tampa. 5-2. That's a good week for me.
I'll take 4 and 3 even. If we lose 1 to Baltimore and split 2 with Tampa, I will be okay with that.
Yeah, ideally, I would live with it. It wouldn't be great.
Ideally, I'd like to sweep Baltimore.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that. Wouldn't be phenomenal, but it wouldn't be like I wouldn't like cry over it. It would just
don't lose a series. That's that's the mentality with every series this year. Do not lose a series.
Yeah, next week is a week you can't go like you can obviously. I'm saying, but like you really don't want to go below 500, right?
Yeah, it's our first time seeing Toronto. I mean, not Toronto, Tampa Bay.
Yeah, you first time. You know, people. You forget. You lose 3 out of 4, right? Then the Rays get 2 games in the loss column back. You don't want that, right?
No.
You know the Rays aren't going to lose. They lost 1 game to Baltimore. You know that means that they won today. You know they're going to win tomorrow against Baltimore. Yeah, you might lose a game against them just because you have a doubleheader.
Go
So you're
3-1.
probably going to split, right? Like the problem is now you're going to lose a game. You're probably going to be 5 games up at the start of the week. You get a series against Baltimore. I don't know who they're playing. I don't know Tampa's schedule. I'll check. I believe their next series would start therefore not Monday. Would it start Tuesday? I know we're delaying the ending a little bit because I'm schedule watching. They play the Marlins. They're going to beat the shit out of the Marlins.
Maybe Jazz may beat them single-handedly.
Praying to the gods, but knowing our luck, knowing the Rays lab, the Marlins are going to get their shit beat by the Rays. You get a chance against the Orioles, right? You can figure out a way to just match the Rays next week.
You're looking good.
Yeah, if you take 3 out of 4 against the Rays, that's
awesome. That's big. That's big.
You take 3 out of 4 and you go up, you add 2 more games. Like you might bury them until the All-Star break.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Boston's lucky that Trevor Story is activated God mode because they would
Devers
really
2 home runs. Like
they're hitting their stride, which is that's the thing. But again, like we talked about, I don't know if we talked about early in this episode or off air, especially we did. I know that you look at Boston's offense and there realistically is like they're 2, 3, 4 that are really carrying them, and then Trevor Story's starting to get hot. So it's like I'm not as worried about them, and their pitching is so bad that I'm not worried about them at all. Like Garrett Whitlock today gave up 10 hits and 5 runs in 3 innings. Like he was awful. And their best guy that was coming into the season was Tanner Houck, and he has shown he cannot pitch more than 3 innings. So it's a bit of a problem now there in Boston. And I do think that they're not the problem. So if we keep winning and Boston keeps winning, it doesn't matter that they keep winning if we keep winning is what I'm trying to say. Like we've built a very nice cushion of, I believe, 11 games ahead of Boston.
Yeah, if you figure out a way to be 12 games worse than Boston for the rest of the year,
you deserve to be worse than Boston.
Dude, you just deserve that is it's.
Like if they go 50, if they go 500 for the rest of the season, the Yankees I think win like 98 games this year.
Yeah. So what is they're 29-10 right now?
Yeah, 29-10
plus 10. It's 39. I don't know. I didn't do the math on that.
Then
minus you take 162 from that. You divide this by 2. That's 61.5 wins. So let's say they go 62-60 for the rest of the year. They would have won
91 win team.
Yeah. Like
come on. That's what them playing bad baseball. That's what them playing literally as the White Sox have played right now, essentially.
You can go play 550 baseball. Let's say 55% of 123 at 67 wins.
You add that to 29, you're looking at
that rounds up to
96 games, 96 wins with that. And that's awesome. That's a division winning team.
And for context, a 55% winning percentage is an 89 win team. So if they're an 89 win team the rest of the way, they're going to win 96 games and most likely either win a division or be very close to doing it. Like that's
the thing. They're so good now. Like this team, it's not just they've got like hot streaks and they're like, this is early. It's like this is a very good team.
It's sustainable production.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's because you have games and you now look and you see players that are kind of going cold and have their moments. But when one guy's cold, another guy's hot. So it's when all these guys are hot, it'll be a very, very scary lineup. And come October, you want to see Donaldson playing third. You want to see DJ playing second. And you want to see Gleyber at DH. Because that is the best organization of those 3 guys and the best usage of the bats on the team. Like I will say, if October started tomorrow, Aaron Hicks should be on the bench, 100%. Gallo should be in left field, Judge in center, Stanton in right, Gleyber at DH. But because it's still kind of early and because the Yankees are so good, they can afford to have some guys that are struggling and they can afford to work out some problems and quirks and kinks in the armor. Like they can afford to have Hicks struggling right now because they're 29-10. So I don't know, man. This has been a really informative episode. We talked about a lot of shit in this one.
Yeah.
A lot of stuff to have talked about that we had to bring up. Of course, the stuff with Donaldson and Tim Anderson. The team's been so good. They're 24 or 25-4 over their last 29. Like there are so many things with this Yankees team that are grabbing headlines now. And that's what I will say is exciting about this Yankees team. Last year, I felt like a lot of the time, no one was really talking about the Yankees except for how disappointing they've been. Yeah, and this year, they're grabbing headlines as the best team in baseball. All the haters are saying you can't beat good teams. The short porch has made more headlines than I think any other baseball stadium in history. Like, I don't know who complains about like their stadium or playing in another stadium more than when they play in Yankee Stadium. Like, this team just captivates the audiences now. And that's because they're really good. They have that fuck you mentality that we talked about in the beginning of the episode. And they just have a really well-constructed roster. Their
Yeah.
bullpen we dived into at the beginning, so talented. Their fuck you and edge, we haven't seen that before. Judge and Stanton are playing at literal MVP levels. DJ's elevating the baseball. He hit a grand slam. Hicks is walking and hitting base hits. Like, things are rolling.
Yeah, and I think, overall, good week. Let's make it good. Let's make it even better tonight.
Make it a great week.
I guess today. I mean, the episode comes out.
It doesn't matter. Saturday night, Sunday, the people know. They'll see it Sunday.
If the Yankees can split this doubleheader, walk away the series win, go into next week, have a productive week, we're going to be in a really good spot. So with that being said, thank you guys for listening. I know this is a longer episode, but we appreciate it. I think this was a good episode in general.
Yeah. Subscribe below, people.
Yeah, you got our Twitter. We got my Twitter handle up above.
Yeah, mine's.
Nick's a little off, but we will get that fixed. We're good on that front, though. Nick, again, thank you guys for listening. You guys want to check out Empire Sports Media for our New York sports content. Follow the Fireside Yankees Twitter and Facebook. We got some fire stuff going on there. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.